Pizza, pizza, pizza. There really are a lot of different types of pizza. In fact, just the other day I made a sushi pizza, which made a lot of Italian people and Japanese people a little bit upset. But when we talk about pizza, most people think of that classic New York slice. That nice bubbly, sometimes darkened crust, and that crispy bottom. Now, I think we can all agree, pizza is awesome. But like many things in life, sometimes it can be really hard to choose which kind of pizza to get. And I'm not talking about toppings. I'm talking about the actual style of pizza. We've got New York, Chicago, Detroit style. We've got Neapolitan, which frankly I don't like quite as much. Then we've got Sicilian, California, London pizza, a calzone, and even back when I lived in Rhode Island, we had some special type of pizza there. It was basically just a slice of focaccia with a thick layer of red sauce on it, and there was only just a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese, always served either cold or room temperature, and it was delicious. But that's all to say that there are so many different types of pizza out there. Fortunately for you all, today we're gonna be making probably my favorite type you could possibly ever find, and it took me a few years to discover it. It is the humble pan pizza. And today we're gonna make it at home by using a cast iron pan. Now, how exactly did I discover the pan pizza? Back in college from good old Domino's. Now, I figure we might as well quickly order that good old pan pizza. And frankly, I'm gonna keep it simple. The great part about a good pan pizza is that everything about it is great. That's the great part about a good pan pizza. No sides, no nothing. I'm gonna keep it simple. And we are literally just gonna get the regular old handmade pan pizza that made me fall in love with pan pizza. Let's wait a few minutes and we'll go grab our pizza. Wait, I think our pizza's already here. What? Hello?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, what's up, Vinny?
I think you got a pizza down here.
Did we get a pizza? A Domino's pan pizza.
so.
It's only been like 15 minutes too, that was fast.
No, so the guy said, though, that you said it was for the concierge, so I may have helped myself.
Vinny, I'm gonna come down and beat your ass. You want a slice, Vinny?
I mean, yeah.
Go for it. Does he want a slice too? The mailman wants a slice too. You want a slice too, for real?
No, I was just kidding.
You good?
Just kidding. I appreciate it. I was just kidding.
Now, like I said, what we have right here is a pan pizza. And again, I hope you know this obviously is not sponsored. Right here is what started it all for me with pan pizza. Now, to start, I want to lift up the edge and show you what I love about the crust of a pan pizza. Look at that beautiful golden brown color on the edge. That right there is texture and flavor, something you don't see oftentimes in fast food like this. But the reality is, this is a really good slice of pizza right here. And I genuinely believe that. Now, I know it might be funny to some that we're using Domino's for an example of a really good slice, but I more want to show you this to say that this nice crust on the edge, the buttery golden brown finish on the bottom, as well as the golden bubbly cheese on top, and a nice thick slice that'll give us a gooey bite are all things that we want to nail in our own pan pizza. Go ahead, take a slice. I'm not gonna fire you, come on, go ahead. You're fired, get out. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's get back to it and let's get ready to make an awesome pan pizza because I know I'm ready. Now, before I say anything else, I was gonna start this video with a slice of pizza, but you know what would be an even better start is if you toss a like on the vid. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, so I'm gonna wait just a second for you to go and smack that like button. And we'll see how I'm feeling later, but if you do like the video, I might save a slice of our pan pizza for you a little bit later. All right, let's get back to it. For our pizza dough, I'm gonna make the pizza dough I make every single time, and that's a 72-hour fermented dough. When making a dough like this, you do wanna measure it out by weight because it's much more precise, and with baking, you really don't want to screw around. So we're gonna start with 1,100 grams of bread flour, and I'm using King Arthur. I'll link this recipe in the description, but it's from one of my close friends who's probably one of the leading pizza experts in the entire world. Then we're gonna go in with 38 grams of fine sea salt. And of course, I'm gonna be using my own line of salts, which will be released to the public super soon. And last but not least, we're gonna sprinkle in about 2 grams of active dry yeast. If you wanna measure it, this is about a half a teaspoon. At this point, I'm gonna go in with about 780 grams of water, which I'll measure off in a separate bowl. At this point, once we thoroughly mixed all those dry ingredients, we're gonna slowly drizzle in that water and fold it all together with a wooden spoon. We wanna form sort of a shaggy dough at this point. And the great part about this dough is that it doesn't require all that much elbow grease. At this point, to save a mess, I like to actually just knead it right in the bowl. And we really only need to knead it for about 2 or 3 minutes here. I know this part might make some of your arms a little bit tired, but just always try to remember the fact that ultimately you're gonna get to spank this dough. Now we're gonna add just a little bit of olive oil into the bottom of a fresh bowl, and then we'll take our lightly kneaded dough and give it a slight swirl, and finally top it with a damp towel where it's gonna sit for 24 hours at room temperature right on your counter. 24 hours later, our dough has risen up a little bit, and at this point we'll flour our whole cutting board and drop down that dough. Now of course this should come as no shocker, but it's time to give it a little You're fired. You are absolutely fired. And then we break this into nice dough balls, which we'll just very lightly shape and then place in greased airtight containers. For this, deli containers are best, but I'm just gonna use a couple bowls with some tight plastic wrap. Now, this goes in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours to further ferment, bringing out all that amazing flavor. And then we'll have our dough. Now back to that good old jiggly dough. As you can see at this point, it is light and it is fluffy and it smells amazing. So this here is ready to go into our cast iron pan. Now, first things first, we'll start by painting melted butter all over the cast iron. That's how we're gonna get that beautiful, beautiful crust. I'm gonna stroke my brush up the edges of that cast iron to help to coax and lift that crust out of the pan when it cooks. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but every little thing like this matters when you're cooking. Also, be sure not to do too much butter because you're gonna have fat and oil from all those cheeses as well. Now at this point, we're gonna take our nice, soft dough. And I just want you to take a peek at those air bubbles on the edge there. That right there is a very well fermented dough. We're going to go ahead and pull off a nice big knob of this into our cast iron pan. Then I'm gonna lightly oil my hand so I can spread it out, and then we'll go ahead and start pressing. Push down with your fingers, almost like you're making a focaccia here. You wanna spread this out as much as you possibly can, eventually curling up the edges of your pan a little bit. Don't tilt it at me, don't tilt it at me, keep it down. Once that's nice and pressed out, I'm gonna lightly pinch up against the edges to try to slightly lift that crust. If you have a really soft dough, as you should, it's not gonna lift that high up, but you want it to at least try to climb just a tad bit. But later you'll see that the cheese is really what's gonna climb. Now at this point, we need to make our tomato sauce. And for tomato sauce, we keep it simple. First, we take a little bit of basil, roll it up like a cigar, at which point it should look something like this. Then chiffonade, which means we cut it like this to get these nice, really fine strands of basil. Essentially, these are gonna spread throughout that sauce really nicely. And you can see as I pick these up that they're very fine and thin, almost like little shoestring bits. Now, those will go straight into my tomato sauce, as well as a little bit more of my salt, which if you can't tell, I'm very, very excited about. What you'll have now is this beautiful rustic shot of this tomato and basil and salt, which eventually will mix together just like this. That right there is your tomato sauce. Easy and simple. I said don't start filming it. I said don't. Now we go on with our sauce, and not too much because this has a lot of moisture. Let's face it, nobody wants a wet pizza. Literally, I've never met anyone that said, I want a really nice and wet pizza. You don't want that water from this tomato sauce coming out and ruining this amazing pie. But one thing I do like to do with the pan pizza is go right around the edge with that tomato, because the sugars in the tomatoes are going to caramelize and give you a nice crust when combined with that cheese. Now for our cheese, we do want to go on with some low moisture mozzarella, and you're always welcome to mix in whatever types of cheese you want. But the most important thing for me for a pan pizza is to really get that edge with cheese. We want that gorgeous, nice crust up against the edge of our pizza, almost a continuation of that crust. You know, I've made pizza plenty of times and people say there's too much cheese on there, but in my opinion, that's not the right way to think about it. I say put as much cheese as you want on there. Cheese it up. At this point, this pizza is gonna go into the oven at the max temperature my oven will even offer. I don't have a specific time for you, but keep a close eye on it and make sure that you get that perfect golden brown that you're looking for. Let's toss it in. Listen to that crackling deliciousness. And take a close look at those edges that are clearly caramelized and beautiful. This right here, everybody, is a pan pizza at its finest. In my opinion, it simply doesn't get better than this in the pizza world. At this point in time, once it's cooled for just a minute, we're gonna come in and loosen up those crispy edges of the pizza. And the goal is to leave as many of those crispy bits on as possible. So as you go around, really hug the edge. To do this, you can use a fine knife or anything like that. But ultimately, the more of these crispy pieces that you leave, the better it's gonna look when it's sitting on the cutting board. Now that the time has come to drop this pan pizza on our cutting board and give it a nice slice, I'm gonna very confidently swoop it out just like that. As you can see, we've absolutely nailed those edges on this pan pizza. And no, that black color is not burnt. That is the tomato that is heavily caramelized on the edge. That is so much flavor. And now right here, just take a look at that webbing that climbs up the side of this pizza here. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I think it's time that we slice into this pizza and pick up one of these beautiful pieces. So here goes nothing. Now, this pizza is very hot right now, and it's not super easy for me to hold in my bare hands. But what I first want to show you is this crust right here. Again, I really, really hope you can all understand that this is absolutely not burnt. In fact, if you get this on your pizza, you've nailed it. This is a combination of that cheese and the tomato getting pretty much close to that point of burning, yes, but really just kind of caramelizing and almost over caramelizing to the point that it makes this hard crust that'll stay in this shape right up well past where the actual pizza ends. Aside from the fact that we have a really nice cheesy slice, I do also want to show you the backside. Now clearly for one reason or another, this slice wasn't sitting flush to the cast iron, but that's okay. What's important is that we have that really nice golden brown bottom. And if you listen, It's really hard and crispy. Now, I think that's enough talking about this slice, even though this is just about one of the sexiest slices of pizza you can make at home, or find anywhere for that matter. But I think it's time to eat. To start with this pizza, I do want to start by biting that crust, because I want to show you how amazing this part of it is. Normally, you're not used to that kind of texture when eating a slice of pizza, but with this, you are. What you're eating when you bite this is soft, crispy cheese. It is chewy and it is delicious. But perhaps more importantly, let's dive into the pizza itself. I know you want some. How many times have you been fired today? Three? This pizza, amazing. There's a nice thick crust on here. And that means every time I take a bite, there's a softer, doughier part in the middle that I get to eat. Here's what each bite is like. The bottom is crispy and buttery and gives some nice crunch and nice texture. Then you get to that middle, which is fluffy and cheesy, and it's that space where that sauce and that cheese and that dough can all mix together there. And then of course you get to the top. That layer of hot sauce and that cheese all bubble and mix together to make an amazing, almost caramelized, otherworldly bite. And then of course, when you want to sneak a bite off the edge, you can get a unique, different texture with some more cheese, cooked in a different way. You see, a pan pizza doesn't have a crust. The cheese right here is the crust. So no more throwing your crust away for those people that don't like it. You can eat that cheesy, delicious pizza right up to the edge of your pan pizza and then break off a crust like nothing you've ever had before. Pan pizza, I love ya. Now, to all of you watching right now, please don't forget to like the video. You know how much I love it and you know how much I appreciate it when you just toss a like. So if you didn't already, take a quick second to go down and hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. In the meantime, lots of fun videos coming up as always, so make sure you smack that subscribe button and that notifications icon. That notifications gang is just growing and growing and growing, and we want to keep having people hop on board. I want to make sure you see these videos when they come out. And if you're part of that notifications gang, maybe I'll just save you a good old slice of pan pizza. See you next time.